18 matches at what the hell, man? Who's in the top 8? Who is lucky enough to get an additional 2 matches added to their congested schedule? And who is finished? Because remember, guys, no dropping down to the Europa League. If you didn't make it to the top 24, you're out. And guys, watch-alongs and live streams are coming back as early as this weekend. I even have an idea for the weekend recap. Working on it still. But the streams are coming back on a brand new platform called Big Up that will actually allow me to show you guys highlights, show you match footage. On top of that, I can stop the footage, highlight areas of the pitch, break down plays. I can pull up the tactics board and move players around, change formations based on what's happening in the match. And best yet, you guys can call in and give your opinion on the match. It's going to look like Monday Night Football, essentially. So use the link below and join the Rabona TV community on Big Up. And they have some more features coming out soon that will really help to build community. So join me over there. We'll do our first stream on Sunday, this Sunday, Arsenal versus Man City. We'll go live 20 minutes prior to kickoff so we can do some pre-show highlights and break things down. And with that in mind, let's jump into what was a wild, wild evening, man. We'll go through a select few matches, take a look at the final table, and then take a look at the bracket ahead of the draw on Friday. Now, I will admit, the matches I was most interested in were those that involved teams that were fighting for survival. Not so much who would finish in the top 8 or the top 24. That, of course, holds ramifications for what will happen in later rounds, of course. But when it comes to watching things that have an impact on the organization of the tournament versus teams facing imminent death, I'll take the imminent death. Thank you. But let's start with City versus Club Brugge, as the opening 2 minutes really were a great encapsulation of how the entire match would go, or at least the first half. City pressing ferociously to try and pin Brugge in their own half, getting half chances now and then Club Brugge attacking via the counter, able to get 3-4 players forward quickly due to the pace that they have in wide areas. And often, Club Brugge's attacks were directed down City's right flank because why wouldn't you, right? Matheus Nunes being forced to play as a right back, of course you're going to attack down there. And of course, Club Brugge, who are undefeated in 16 matches coming into this, by the way, who hadn't lost since October 22nd across all competitions, were the first to open the scoring in this game. Rapid counterattack where Nunes got sent for a hot dog, then a ball across the box was smashed in by Onyedika, his first ever Champions League goal, and that goal meant that City had to score 2 to win 2-1 in order to advance. Tough spot, right? This is what the table looked like at halftime. But in the second half, Guardiola made an important change, bringing on Savinho for Gundogan, as Savinho's pace and trickery down the left flank was integral to City's comeback. But first, Kovacic was allowed to waltz through the middle. Great run by him before hitting an inch-perfect strike into the bottom corner for 1-1. Then, an unfortunate moment, Savinho played Gvardiol in, and his squared ball was directed into the goal by Brugge defender Joel Ordóñez, who had been so good prior to that moment. From there, you knew it was pretty much over. I mean, City have blown a ton of matches from leading positions this season, but it didn't seem like it would happen in this one, especially with the Brugge coach removing all 3 of their front 3 who were so dangerous. So City needed a win to survive, and City with the big win to make sure they finish in the top 24. And yet, Club Brugge were still in at this point, as they had PSG doing them a big favor in Stuttgart. My guy, Bradley Barcola, early goal, who I bet would get 30 goal contributions this season. We'll see if he makes it. I still feel good about it, but anyway, playing away to Stuttgart isn't an easy thing. They're a very good team under Hoeneß. But you just get the feeling that PSG is starting to get some wind in their sails. They're a super young team, so it was always going to take them some time to gel and get used to playing under Luis Enrique, but they are looking good now after that big win over City last week. But anyway, before I got sidetracked, I was saying that Bradley Barcola scored early, and he did, 7 minutes in. Desiree Doué with the unbelievable pass, an accidental on purpose one, you know? Like, he was trying to divert it centrally for sure, but I mean, he couldn't have hoped for it to come off better than it did. That was crazy. Then Dembele absolutely wiped the floor with Stuttgart, wrung them out, and went for a second pass across the floor. A great hat trick from him. That third goal especially was a nice finish. PSG were 4-0 up by the 54th minute. Dembele with goals 2, 3, and 4 for his hat trick, and while Stuttgart pulled one back through William Pacho's own goal, they were stomped in this game. Way better in the second half, but still ravaged. Meaning, Club Brugge got to go through, while Stuttgart unfortunately fell out of the top 24. Benfica away to Juve. Yes, I will have a video on the Benfica audio leaks because they are a bit crazy. but also confirming what we know in some ways. More in that video tomorrow. But we caught Juve at a great time because they are just a little bit more crap than we have been recently, which is a perfect situation for a team that is in the kind of form that Benfica has been at times. And honestly, I mean, I knew Juve was bad, but I was shocked at how easy this match ended up being and how well Benfica was able to play against Juve, because Juve weren't good in the attack, they were poor in defense, their midfield was relatively easy to play through. I didn't expect that. I at least expected Motta to set them up to defend well, given their attack is suffering, and given we didn't have Carreras. I don't know, I was surprised by this match. One of those games where at the end of it, you're just like, oh, that's it? That's all we needed? Really? In the first half, Pavlidis scored once again, finishing off a squared ball from Alexander Ba. Insane control from Ba there. The second goal was a nice team move that saw Kokcu with so much space in the middle of the pitch. 2-0 from a nice strike, and it could have been more actually, such as Aktakoglu hitting the post. Tons of whistles at the end of the match as Juve fall 2-0 at home. Sporting hosted Bologna and got a 77th minute equalizer in that match to stop themselves from losing 4 straight matches in the Champions League. They went from a team that was flirting with the top 8 under Amorim with 3 wins and a draw. They could have done it under him. To 3 losses and a draw and just barely sneaking through. We'll get to the table soon so you can see. Because I want to give a shout out to a couple of matches, such as Aston Villa versus Celtic. Celtic especially have been so fun to follow in this competition, and I'm very glad that they will be advancing. Twice as glad that Jota has returned to Celtic. Excellent all around. The Saudi/France experiment didn't work out for him, but Celtic were 2-0 down away to Aston Villa after just 5 minutes with a Morgan Rogers brace, only for Adam Ida to score a 2-minute brace of his own. Madness. But Ollie Watkins, who will not be going to Arsenal despite the bid that they put in on Monday, put Villa back ahead in the second half, and they were great value for it, weren't they? Except for that penalty from Watkins. What the hell was that, man? Slipped on his ass, his standing foot failed him there, but their 2-goal lead would be restored at the end of the match, 4-2 Villa. Guys, I'm not going to go through every single match like this. We would be here all night, one night with Adrian. But another team I want to give a major shout out to is Lille. Nobody expected these guys to do this well. You know, top 20 for sure, but what Bruno Genesio achieved with them is special. They defeated Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, drew Juventus. Huge dark mark on them there. I'm just joking. Defeated Bologna, Sturm Graz, lost 2-1 to Liverpool away, and then destroyed Feyenoord 6-1. Unbelievable. So here are the rest of the scores for you guys. I'll just go through them quickly. Barca and Atalanta drawing 2-2. Leverkusen defeating Sparta 2-0. Dortmund, they stop the bleeding and get a 3-1 win at home against Shakhtar. Since Shakhtar had been playing in Schalke's arena all Champions League long, all they had to do was channel their hate for Schalke, and that was enough for Dortmund to end their 5-match winless run. Bayern, of course, defeated Slovan Bratislava 3-1. Thank you so much, Slovan, for all that you did. Free points FC, 8 matches played, 8 losses. I mean, the 8 teams that played Slovan will thank them. They probably saved a few campaigns, to be honest. Arsenal came back from 1-0 down to beat Girona away. Jorginho with a penalty and Ethan Nwaneri with the other. Love watching him play, man. What a talent. And he's scored that goal before, hasn't he? Cutting in from the right, great hit with his left. We've seen that before. AC Milan's silly season continues with a 2-1 loss away to Dinamo Zagreb. Respect to Dinamo, though. They weren't that bad, and yet they will not advance despite having the same amount of points as City, Sporting, and Brugge. Inter beat Monaco 3-0, hat-trick for Lautaro Martinez, or Lisandro Martinez, as the Serie A English Twitter admin wrote the other day. Silly. If you want to have some fun, watch the Liverpool versus PSV match from the 35th minute on, as all of the goals were from the 35th to the 6th minute of added time in the first half. Insane. 3-2 win for PSV. Atletico with a 4-1 win over Salzburg. Sturm Graz, big Sturm Graz with a victory over RB Leipzig. Shameful campaign from Leipzig, as I'll show you. Real Madrid with a 3-0 win over Stade Brestois, and I saved the best for last. Red Star versus Young Boys, the dead rubber. Red Star win as Young Boys become a fellow 3 points FC. So here we go. Let's start at the bottom of the table, shall we? Like I said, Young Boys and Slovan, 3 points, 8 matches played, 8 losses for them. But Leipzig, again, shameful. 3 points from 8 matches. That is not good enough. Now let's look from 27th to 17th so you can see just how tight it was at the bottom here for Man City, Sporting, and Club Brugge, and how heartbreaking it was for Dinamo, who also were on 11 points, as you can see. Rounding out the playoff spots, you can see that from 9th through 13th, these teams were a point away from making the top 8 potentially. Some big teams in the playoff round now. Bayern, Real Madrid, whew. And your top 8, Aston Villa make it in there, Lille as well, Leverkusen, Atleti, Inter, Arsenal, Barcelona, and Liverpool are top. Must hurt to end with a loss, eh? That blemished record. Even though it doesn't matter in the end, right? The top scorer of the league phase was a tie between Guirassy and Lewandowski, though I will say, all of Rafinha's goals were scored from open play, Guirassy with 4 penalties, Lewandowski with 3. Just saying, guys. Do with that as you will. And as far as assists goes, Charles de Catalata of Atalanta with 5 tops the table, and look at that, Rafinha in second there. What a campaign from him, man. 8 goals, 12 assists. All right, to the fun part. So as I said, there's still a draw to come, which will be on Friday at noon Central European time, but there is already a bracket given the table was seeded. It was a seeded table, so that means we know who some of the matchups could be. For example, as you can see, Manchester City will play either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. That's huge. AC Milan or PSV will play against either Juve or Feyenoord. In other words, both Milan and PSV could play Juve or Feyenoord, right? Both Real Madrid and Bayern could play Celtic or Man City. Both Atalanta and Borussia Dortmund could play Sporting or Club Brugge. By the way, Club Brugge impressed me. Definitely a threat on the counter, so watch out. And both PSG and Benfica will play against Stade Brestois or Monaco. And the rest of the tournament is a bracket, by the way. So after this draw, the path to the final will be much clearer. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this one. That will be it from me today, but that Benfica video will be out tomorrow. Yeesh. And hey, join me on Big Up. Try to be the first person to join the community, and I'll see you guys over on Big Up on Sunday. All right? Take care.